Mr. Adam. How you doing, buddy?
Mr. Stefan, I'm doing great, man. You?
Yeah, I heard some rumors the other day. You want to hear?
Oh, go on. I'm always interested.
I heard there was a new nickname for you in our podcast.
Oh, was it? Okay, what was that?
The nickname for you is like they call you the legal eagle.
Yeah, that sounds funny. That sounds
Yeah,
funny, you know. Uh, well, yeah, like if the eagle is in it, that's always good, you know, like
yeah,
it's an
sharp
honor to
eyes, man.
share the same name with the greatest of all time. So
Yeah, you know the eagle has a sharp eyes, man.
yeah,
They
for
catch
sure, for sure,
everything. Yeah.
for sure.
So, fight world, what's up these days?
Oh man, have you watched the fight between Strickland and Adesanya?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, man. That was fucking wild, right? Have you expected it to play out this way?
You know, I didn't have too many expectations. It came up on me like a surprise. You know, I wasn't expect the fight to happen that fast. I wasn't prepared for them fighting. You know, normally with these big fights, you have a lot of promotion before the fight happens. This one, I
Yeah,
thought like it just happened so suddenly, so I didn't have any too much expectations until it just happened, right? And
yeah,
when it happened, my God, you know, what a new person we saw in the octagon of Strickland, huh?
yeah, yeah, man. I mean, I didn't expect this, you know, in my fucking dreams, man. Like it was so wild. Like Strickland just fucking outclassed him, right? Like that's the most surprising to me about this fight. It's not that, you know, if he was, you know, if he won by like a quick KO or something, like a lucky punch, or you know, like even a takedown and then get the submission or something, I wouldn't be that surprised. But like, first of all, he didn't even wrestle Adesanya, right? Like it was all a stand-up fight, and Adesanya is like one of the best fucking kickboxers in the world, right? And Strickland just fucking outclassed him on the feet. You know, he won 4 rounds out of 5. So that's fucking insane to me. Like somebody was able to do this to Adesanya. Like not even Alex Pereira was able to do this to Adesanya. So I was extremely impressed by Strickland, and yeah, that's the bright future for the guy. You know, if he always fights like this.
Yeah, I'm very happy on his behalf. You know, before we had a couple episodes we were talked about Strickland and how his mentality is. You know, how is he like a loose cannon on every kind of press conference? You know,
Yeah,
it's difficult to kind of expect what's coming out of that guy's mouth, right? And
yeah,
after seeing him on Joe Rogan's podcast, where he went into the depth of his background, you know, where he was abused as a child,
yeah,
and how he is like balanced on the sword between like having a hobby where he's able to be a fighter and not on the other half of the sword where you're like in trouble with the law. Um, it just made
yeah.
me realize that this guy, he has probably been misunderstood his whole life, and so happy that it is an arena where he can express himself. And I think after the loss to the Brazilian again, what's his name,
Alex Pereira.
Pereira, you know, I think something happened with him. He went to training camp with him. They had some, I
Yeah.
think, not so much the technical sparring of the fight with him, but I think what happened in his mentality, how he's looked at himself as a fighter, how he was technically smarter fighting, and you know his determination was differently. He was very strategic and smart and strong, and he was not there to fuck around. He was there to perform. He was just becoming more professional as a fighter.
Yeah, you know, and I'm certainly, you know, impressed by the guy's character as well. As you mentioned, you know, he had a rough childhood and you know whatnot, and but what I really like about the guy is that, you know, he doesn't, he just says whatever comes to his mind, right? So he has no censorship about him, right? So he just fucking says whatever he wants, and that's so rare in this world, that's so fucking rare. Like, he's not scared, he's not like doing all this bullshit, whatever is expected out of you to do as a famous person. He just does whatever he wants, and that's what's so impressive to me about the guy. And yeah, I was certainly happy that he won as well. He really deserved that, and that's a very unique character to have as a champion.
Yeah, I think that win meant more for Strickland than it would ever have meant for Adesanya.
For sure, for sure. I think Adesanya even underestimated him a little bit, to be honest. This is how I see it. Like, because okay, Adesanya got caught with that punch in the first round, right? But it happened to him before, right? Like in the Calvin Gastelum fight, like Calvin Gastelum like knocked him down also, and he was able to come back and then almost fucking finish him in the fifth round, right? But he was just like kind of broken in this fight. So, and I don't know what really caused it, but something was just very off about Adesanya.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Yeah, I think it's hard to being the champion, always being challenged, always being pushed by some hungry guy out there. So when it comes to these kind of big event fights where he has nothing to lose, you can put it on the same level like Buster Douglas and Mike Tyson. Like either you're gonna win that fight or you're gonna die trying. And then it's very hard to fight a person like that.
Yeah,
A person who's fighting you, like, you need to kill me before I stop.
yeah,
At that
yeah,
level with those skill sets, it's incredibly difficult to fight that. And if you're not on the top of the game, you're not that hungry, you have all your family there, you have all the circus, you have all the marketing machines and everything, then it's difficult to do that. So I think maybe that got to Adesanya, but I'm not sure. I think
we
it's
can never know, right? We can never know. I mean, it could be so many things behind the curtain that could happen. Maybe something in his private life, like we don't fucking know. But yeah, I agree with what you said about like being the champion for like so long, and he faced like so many different challengers, and so yeah, he had a bad day. I believe he can still come back, because obviously he's like still one of the best stand-up fighters in the world, right?
yeah.
So he can still come back, and he's not old. So, but it's kind of funny, like when people compare him to Anderson Silva, right? And people say that Adesanya is better than prime Anderson Silva. That's just kind of funny to me. I mean, Anderson was like ruling the fucking division for like so many years, so much longer than Adesanya did. So that's kind of a ridiculous comparison to me. So I think Anderson Silva is still the middleweight GOAT, and it's no argument about that, right?
Yeah, but it also the legend status. Once you're retired, once you're not in the game anymore, so easy to make references to these big great names. If if Adesanya retires now on a win, and then like, oh Jesus, guy, he was not. Then we will start really digging into his past, because we know there's not going to be any more future fights to see him fight, right?
Yeah,
But now we're knowing there are fights all the time, so we don't have the time to appreciate the artistry that he has been doing up until now, right? We're just like waiting. What's the next one? What's the next one? What's the next one? And then it kind of takes away the magic around his persona and his performances. But
right.
at the end of the day, I thought it was. I always like to kind of look at the fighters who win, because I'm interested in success and how people are able to win. And that takes me to Sean Strickland again. It's like I think it's more about his performance than Adesanya having a bad day. I think Strickland was on the top of his game, and he was not there to play. He was there to be truly professional, and you could see that also. It was so sincere. After announcing the win, he was very emotional, and you rarely see him becoming emotional, you know?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, that was understandable though, because I mean, the guy just won like a UFC championship, right? Like you don't, it's not like you're going out for some milk in the local shop, right? I mean, uh, but yeah, that was good to see. That was good to see, definitely. And I was, as I said in the beginning, I was really impressed by his style, like how he just fucking, went forward all the time, stayed in Adesanya's face and just kind of shot his game off, right? So Adesanya couldn't do what he normally did to like other guys. And yeah, it was for sure. It was a masterclass performance by Strickland. And I'm like really curious, like what's next for him? Is it gonna be a rematch or is it gonna be some other challenger? Um, but it's gonna be really interesting to see because like to beat one of the best kickboxers in the world in this impressive way, like who can beat this guy now?
Yeah. Yeah, Strickland, he's a dangerous guy too, man. He loves to bang it out, He can stand toe to toe, and even in the sparring sessions, he's known to fight very hard. So
Yeah,
if you look at like the history of these championship fights, if you look at uh, Leon Edwards against what's his name again?
Usman.
Usman, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so these guys they run a rematch right after, Leon Edwards didn't have a fight in between, did he?
I think no, it was a
No.
it was a straight rematch. Yeah,
And I would love to see Leon Edwards fight like Chimaev or Colby or some other fighter before he fought Usman again, because I think Usman should have the time to recover properly, and I think that also Leon should shown against other top fighters that he deserves to be there. And the same thing I would hope to see with Strickland again before he does a rematch against Adesanya, and where else
hmm
it just becomes like a ping pong game, bang bang, I win, you win, I win, you win, and I want to see them given a shot, just proving their position, and then the rematch against the former champion, it will come. The king will always try to rise again, and there's no chance, there's no doubt about that.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't mind Strickland fighting someone else right now, but I think Adesanya definitely deserves a rematch. It's like some people talking about it, like, no, he doesn't because he lost like 2 out of his 3 last fights and stuff like that. So what? He's still like one of the greatest middleweight fighters ever. Probably is the second one after Anderson Silva, right? So,
Yeah,
so I think he deserves his rematch. If he wants that. And yeah, like whether it's against Strickland or someone else, but I think he doesn't have to fight anyone else before fighting for the title again. And
yeah,
I would actually love to see them run it back because it was still an interesting fight, and I would be interested to see can Adesanya make some adjustments and fight a different fight the second time and beat Strickland, or is it gonna be the same all over again? And then we can just say that yeah, his time is kind of over at the top, right?
yeah. Well, talking about rematches, what about Olivera and Islam? They're running it
Oh
back.
man, that's gonna be a good one. That's gonna be a
Yeah.
good one for sure. Um, yeah, I will definitely be up to see that fight.
What's your
Um,
predictions there? What do you think? What are your feelings?
well, it's kind of interesting, but I would say that Islam's gonna win the second time as well. Maybe Oliveira has improved even since then. He was already at the top that time, but I think he even became. I mean, he defeated like Benil Darius the last time, right, with a fucking knockout. So he definitely became even better. But I think that Islam is just so much on his prime right now. I think what's gonna happen is he's gonna take him down and either win by ground and pound or submission. What are
Yeah.
your thoughts?
I think these are good ideas that you have. I would be happy if Oliveira wins. but that's the fighter in me. Like the underdog wants him to win.
Yeah.
That's not how you should place your bets on fights. So based on like the clinical approach, I would say Islam, his mentality, his religion, his legacy, his training team, all that. You're competing against all of that, not only just against a fighter. You know, he's coming from Khabib's, literally from the work of Khabib. You know, so that will be very difficult to beat. But you know, Strickland shook the world. Leon Edwards shook the world. There's been so many fights where people are like, oh my God, you know, maybe this could be one of them. You know, that's the energy that pushes the whole fight world around. What if it only takes one punch, one kick, one submission, 1 second too slow, and then you change your own world and creating fighting history, man.
For sure. And like Charles Oliveira, you know, definitely has the ability to get it done. Like he has the ability on the feet, you know, he has the ability even on the ground, right? Like he's a fucking, I don't know, third-degree black belt in jiu-jitsu or something. So I can see that happening, you know, like to Islam takes him down and then Oliveira catches him with a triangle or something. That's definitely, you know, that's definitely an option. But then again, like if I would have to make a prediction, I would have to place my bet on someone, it would be Islam, just because of his wrestling. You know, I think he's not gonna get caught
All
in
right, buddy.
submission, right?
Let's look forward to the fight, and let's see how it turns out. Thank you for
For
today,
sure.
and have a good one, buddy.
Yeah, buddy, it was awesome, and see
All
you
right,
soon,
ciao,
right?
buddy. Ciao.
Ciao.